way of being able to bring a community together, bring people together and knowledge together to be able to share. And that's the main thing that I really want to do with Fight Creative.
The Fight Creative Podcast, hosted by Seb Muirhead and Chan Griffin.
Welcome to the Fight Creative Podcast. I'm here with my lovely friend, Warwick Sadler. Warwick Sadler is a stunt coordinator here in Australia, and he's been working in the industry for over 30 years now. Amazing, and I'm so privileged and grateful for you to come and have a little chat with us today. Thanks, Warwick. Would you be able to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you sort of got into the industry?
Yeah, sure. I got into the industry from a young age, straight out of school. I always wanted to do it, and I came to a pretty a nice story for me because I was sitting watching Die Hard actually with my dad in about probably 1988 or 1987, 1988, I think. Yeah, it was 87 or 88. I was it was just my dad and I, in a family of 6, stayed up and watched Die Hard. And at the time, I was a gymnast. I wasn't a gymnast in competition, but I was a gymnast at a local church group, actually. And so I was doing gymnastics, and we were watching Die Hard, and I saw a stunt happen, and it wasn't the actor who was playing so I noticed the stunt double, and I turned to my dad and I said, "Hey, Dad, that wasn't the actor. That was someone else." And he said, "Yeah, that was a stunt man." And I said to my dad, "That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a stuntman."
Wow.
And of course, he kind of laughed and said, "Oh, yeah, great." And I didn't know anything then. I was only 13, 14 years old. But what I do know for a fact is that from 13 till 18, that's all I wanted to do.
Wow.
I just wanted to be a stunt person. I think it's quite a unique way to get in, just to watch a movie with my dad. And
For sure. How did your parents respond to it when you first sort of told them? Did you actually approach them about it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, approached my mum the next morning and said, "I want to be a stuntman." And she said, "Oh yeah, great. That's a good aspiration." And like all young people, we either want to be fireman, policeman, an actor or whatever. But I always wanted to be a stunt person, and I really did. All through high school, that's all I wanted to do, unless I was working with animals. So I only wanted to work with animals, and zoology is what I thought I wanted to get into as a youngster. But what I realised when I was getting to 16 to 17, 18, coming time to choose a career, I stuck to stunts because I didn't want to go to school for another 6 years.
Yeah, for sure.
University. So I stuck to stunts and I left school. And my parents, even at that stage, they knew I was serious about it, but they were still like, "You should have a backup. Try and get a backup." I didn't know what my backup was if it wasn't working with animals. So I put my heart and soul into becoming a stunt person.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so when was it that you sort of got graded?
Yeah,
roughly.
I got graded. So I started training when I was 18.
Yeah.
So that was about 1992, 93. Started training to be a stunt person.
Wow.
And I did the training at an acting agency.
Oh, right.
In Richmond, and Chris Anderson was running the stunt component of the acting agency.
Oh, really? Wow.
And so I really started training about just after I left high school. And as soon as I finished high school, I rang up an agency. It was in the Yellow Pages, actually. Back in the days, we didn't have internet or anything. So I looked at the Yellow Pages, and there was a stunt agency, New Generation Stunts. And I showed my mum, and she goes, "You're serious about this, are you?" I said, "Yep." And so I went to this stunt agency and did an 8-week course. There was an 8-week course they were doing. I participated in that. And, that was pretty much the history. So
wow.
I got graded. The time I got graded was about 20 years old, I'm going to say.
Yeah, right.
The grading system was a little bit similar to what it is now.
Yeah.
You had to become a SAP first and make the the progression.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I believe we worked on a film. There was 6 of us that came through at the same time. They were choosing 6 out of about 50, 60 people
Yeah.
to train with the agency from then on.
Oh, right.
And we were lucky enough to do a film that was a Navy SEAL film, and they didn't like the stunt doubles' looks because the stunt doubles were a bit older than the Marines.
Mm.
So we were very lucky that we all looked young, and we were able to do stunts before we were graded as extras.
Wow,
we were
amazing.
playing extras in the boats as Navy SEALs, action extras, and they also wanted us to do the stunts. So we got thrust into the industry quite quickly, which was a blessing.
Who was coordinating that one?
That was Bernie Ledger was the coordinator for Silver Strand, it was called.
Oh, okay.
Bernie Ledger was a stunt coordinator, and that was a fun job because he's quite jovial, quite fun.
Oh, really?
And so for the first stunt coordinator to be someone that's that kept us at ease through the, we didn't have to feel nervous. He trusted what we could do.
Oh, that's amazing.
And he didn't put us in any situations where we weren't able to do because we weren't graded.
Yeah.
So it was a good experience. So,
yeah, it would have been.
Yeah.
So Chris Anderson sort of was the first port of call at the start. Like like so many people, myself included.
Yep.
He was the one that gave me the first shot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just
and
amazing.
Funny story about Chris Anderson was when I got chosen out of the 50 people or 60 people, as I said earlier, I wasn't a trained gymnast, as in I wasn't a competition gymnast, but I learned from a private teacher. I asked Chris Anderson, how'd you choose me out of all these amazing martial artists, amazing gymnasts? And he said, well, I knew you weren't going to hurt yourself, but you looked uncoordinated in the air, and that's what I want. And I'm like, I think that's a compliment. And he said it is absolutely a compliment because you know what you're doing, but you don't look like a gymnast or a martial artist. You look natural. So it was a compliment.
Yeah,
because I've always been known as being a bit gangly and floppy. But it actually worked for me.
Yeah, in your favour.
It did,
Amazing. Yep. So, what would you do to give yourself some advice if you were back then, like just starting out, like going, I really want to be a stunt person? And what sort of advice would you give yourself now looking back on it after you've been in it for so long? Is there anything that you would sort of say to yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say to myself to put everything into what you'd like to do. Because as you know, we come in either with a specialty or with no specialty and try and be a jack of all trades. Yeah. As you know, in the Australian industry, it's good to be a jack of all trades. It's good to be, but what I didn't do and what I would suggest is find the things you love about the industry, find the things that you really enjoy, and maybe don't throw your eggs all into that one basket, just to use a cliche, but become really good at something that people go, I have to hire this person because they're really good at that thing. Because what I did, I was like, I wanted to be a little bit of everything, a little bit of a high faller, a little bit of fire, a little bit of tumbling, a little bit of fighting, a little bit of everything. I was lucky enough to have a long and still have a long career in stunts. So I must have done something right. Yeah. But become someone that has to be hired in an area. So I could have concentrated on not one thing, but really put a lot of effort into maybe one thing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does, yeah. Kyle was telling me that the other day as well. He was saying that, people who come into the industry, it'd be just so good if they really did focus on one thing. Like they obviously should become competent in all the other things over time if you can. But having something that makes you stand out, that you love, that you enjoy, but you can see something special there, really helps. It's not only helps the person get work in that sort of field, but it also, in my opinion, lifts the rest of the standard in Australia as well, because you have someone to learn off of who's special in that area, and you go, oh yeah. That guy's so good at that. I really want to get a little bit of that and learn a little bit of him or her, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it goes the other way as well, doesn't it? So if you could do it the other way, if you were really good at something, if you came in as a specialist, then choose something you're not so great at
Yeah.
and become good at that. It's like it works both ways.
Totally.
I think if you're really good, if you come in as a specialist motorbike rider, you might want to become someone that videos or edits previses or something you're not good at.
For
Get
sure.
good at that because, as you know, having a little bit of everything in the industry always helps.
Definitely.
So if you have a specialty, maybe go outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, for sure.
And find something that you are interested in but you're not good at. Yeah, so that goes twofold, I think.
Yeah, it gives you such a broader picture of the industry and what other people are dealing with too, in a way. I've always found that the more that I learn about other people's skills and other areas of stunts as well as just film, it helps me really go, oh wow, like I never knew that about that sort of part of it, and I become more understanding and more compassionate towards those people and those departments too, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And you just want to connect and help people rather than go, oh no, that person's like, why is it taking so long to be able to do that stunt, or why does it take so long to set up those lights or whatever. But like if you put yourself in their shoes and you understand why, it helps everything run more smoothly. It's not like why, it's more like how can I help them to get everything working together better.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yep.
Yeah. How, you've been in the industry a lot longer than me. Like how do you think that things have evolved over time, like since you first started to what they have now in, because you've been in Australia most of the time, earlier on, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Have you seen things change over time? And if so, like good and bad, and what? And how?
Absolutely has changed. As I said, I got in the early 90s, so that was a long time ago now. I remember when I first started, I had to get a mobile phone. It was one of those first Motorola, the brick ones.
Yeah.
I got the brick flip. There was only really two phones you could choose from. So I got in the industry a long time ago, and I would say I was in the transition period of the newer age to the older school.
Yeah.
So the people that came before me, they were more in you just take a rec and it looks great on film, and you choreograph scenes, and it wasn't so much about the previses and the high skill level. It was more of people who like to take a rec, we call it, as you know. And so I would say I was in the transition period, because when I started in the early 90s, it was becoming like, free running and parkour, things that were a bit more newer. I think parkour started in the late 80s or early 90s. And I would say that the reason why I mentioned parkour is because I don't think there was anyone that came before me who could do the tricking, the parkour, the capoeira, like that they do now.
Yeah.
Like capoeira is, of course, an old martial art, but I don't think it really, came into stunts. Stunts were a lot of stair falls, fire, car crashes, all what I call the fun stuff.
Yeah.
But so I really do feel like I was in the transition period, and I was always taught by Chris Anderson to evolve with stunts, which was a great bit of advice from someone who's been in the game for a lot longer than us, even myself. And so, I think it's evolved quite a lot since I started, even in the early 90s, because I was in the transition period. I remember when Morgan Evans came to my house in the Docklands and said, have you seen this thing called parkour? And it was starting to become a thing in the early 2000s.
Yeah, right.
It was starting to, be in the James Bond movies and things. And so I think the major evolution is coming from car crashes, fire, stairs, which we still do now. And as you know, it's a very important skill to have, because stunts are not always martial arts, tricking, gymnastics.
Yes.
They are people falling over in the forest, or, falling in the river.
Yeah.
And you have to have those old school skills, we'd call them. But I envy people now who can do those amazing things like tricking, parkour, gymnastics to a high level. Because what I see is I would like to have thought I could do it when I was 19, 20, but
Yeah,
like it astounds me.
it is
The-
astounding, isn't it?
The amount of body control and things that these people need. But as you know, we need the old school because some of these people who can do these tricking can't perform, can't let themselves go and become someone who falls over in the bush,
Yeah, yeah,
if you know what I mean. So what I love about stunts is it's all interweaving. We need to do all of it.
yeah, for
And,
sure.
you know, I can't even tell a newer stunt person that you have to be good at tricking or you have to be good at amazing parkour. You don't need to be, as you know. But again, going back to that thing of be good at what you want to be good at,
Yeah,
because there's a place for both.
for sure.
So the evolution of stunts is quite cool.
Yeah,
You know, we've gone
definitely.
from people taking a wreck that you and I are probably like, oh, those guys are crazy,
Yeah,
to a lot more paperwork now and doing things so we avoid even the opportunity to get hurt.
yeah,
But we're still in the industry where pain thresholds
yeah,
required.
Yeah,
you know,
for
on both
sure.
sides.
For
you know,
sure.
you still need the pain threshold because
Yeah.
if you're a really good martial artist or parkour person, then you're going to take a lot of wrecks anyway. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, I do wonder whether if we had the exposure that a lot of people do today, whether we had the same exposure to all the different things that people are doing around the world back when we were younger, whether we would have been able to do some of those things as well, like, or would have followed some of that stuff too. But
yeah,
everything's interesting in like what if scenarios, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
yeah, because it was a very interesting transition between the 90s to late 2000s, right? From where everything went from film to digital as
yeah.
well,
Oh,
as well
100%.
as from no internet to internet, from no mobile phones to everyone having video on their phones and being able to
Yep.
watch things live. You know, it's things have evolved in the world so much, and I think stunts, in a way, as all professions would have evolved to meet that and to utilize that even more, right? Sometimes
Yes.
in good ways and bad ways, though, right?
Wow, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I love how you brought up the film to digital because when I started it definitely was on film. You know,
Yeah.
again, I was in the transition period where late 90s was becoming digital. And what I miss about film and what I love about DOPs who might choose film, directors and DOPs who might choose film, is that it's very expensive. So they can't have take after take. So what I find with the difference between working on film in the early 90s to working in digital is they can afford to do 20, sometimes 30 takes, as you're well aware of. I think that the preparation and the planning that went into shooting on film, because it was way too expensive to keep rolling film,
Yeah.
you had to be so prepped and you had to get it in 3 or 4 takes, 5 takes, because it's too expensive.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to go back and develop rolls and rolls of film because only the most expensive of films could do that. And, you know, the early 90s was also the start of $100 million films. You know, it was new ground,
Yeah.
spending this much money on film. So I think film definitely took out the ability to not be lazy, but to be to have too many takes. Yeah.
Yeah, and to prepare more.
Yep.
You know, like film really taught people how to prepare better because everything had to be, the more you planned, the less takes you would have to do.
Yes,
I'm guessing.
exactly.
And they had to be a lot more stringent with lighting and stuff as well, because the flexibility in the cameras was a lot different
Yes.
in the film industry too.
Exactly.
So being more calculated with shots and all of that, just super cool, I reckon. You know, let's go back to film in a way. You know, like, there'd be some amazing things.
Exactly, because as you know, it's not you know, the filmmaking nowadays, the previses and everything we're doing, we're definitely putting in the planning and preparation.
Yeah.
So it's such a catch-22 where it doesn't make us worse because we're evolving more as a stunt community where we can do previses and show the director. So it's not like we're not putting in the planning, but it's on game day is when it seems to get lazy, you know, where the director can keep going take after take and look at things and go, oh, I'd rather this. And it didn't matter to the stunt. But yeah, back in the day, it'd be like, nah, we got it. Let's move on.
Yeah.
I guess, it's not the stunt industry that is complacent, but some directors can be complacent because they know they can keep shooting and shooting, you know, like
That's right.
how often do we hear keep rolling?
Yeah.
Let's just keep rolling.
Yeah.
They could not afford to do that when I started.
Yeah,
it was like, and cut, let's work out what didn't work.
Yeah.
No one could film it on their cameras, on their phones.
Yeah, let's rehearse until we get it right, and then ready for camera.
Yeah, and that's where storyboarding and everything was more involved and more adhered to. You know, they couldn't change as much. I believe they couldn't change as much because they didn't have the money and the flexibility to change things on the day. They had to know their edit in their head.
Yeah.
So I think going back to film might be great in a way.
Yeah.
Or if we stay digital, let's go back to the old school a bit.
Old school way of planning it, I think.
Yeah. Just because schedules are getting quite tight now.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I guess as being a coordinator for a number of years now, like I've noticed how well you are respected. And the way that you conduct yourself, not only in the coordinator role, but outside as a human being, is admirable. Like I really love your presence and your energy, you know. And the funny thing is that, like I was saying this to another friend of mine, that a lot of people don't wear their heart out in the open in the industry, you know. But for you, I know it might have been hard at times, but it feels like you almost can't. You know, and it's actually worked a lot in your favor because you build such amazing relationships with people and with crew and with other departments. Do you have any like advice on how to let go of those inhibitions and just be who you are, to be able to create a better environment amongst the stunt team as well as amongst the film crew?
Yeah, I do. Because as you know, we're all, I believe we're all born a certain way. So, you know, personalities, we're born with personalities, you know, yourself, you have kids, I have kids. Both my kids have way different personalities. So I believe we're born with a certain thing. But I do have advice on how to let go and be yourself and just be kind and be a team player, I guess, is one of my favorite things. It sounds like a cliche, but like being open and present in your heart and your mind and your soul, as well as in what we do physically and in skill and talent. But yeah, I would say that for myself, and I'm different to other coordinators, but you become a lot more hireable if you are cohesive and get along with other people, because we are in each other's pockets. We're best friends. We put each other's lives on the line. So I feel that your heart and soul has a lot to do with how you interact with others. And it's always a balance. You know, life is always a balance to me. Life, career, heart and soul and mind. I think we need the balance. But being that we're in such a unique industry of putting each other's lives on the line, for me, I'd rather someone who has that heart and soul and is there for others than having talent and not being there for others. So again, it's nice to bring down the equilibrium or bring it up, you know, because we can't forego talent.
Yes.
or skill, but we can always be kind, I think. And as I mentioned, I have 2 kids and they're both different, both in everything, every way. But all I can say is I can't tell you to be anything, but I can only say, please be humble, kind, and caring.
Yeah.
Think from the heart more so than the head.
So a lot of those qualities are things that you look for in people that you would hire on your team if there were full-time positions and things?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Because as you know, especially if you're spending 3-4 months together, and especially away from our families, we become family, obviously. And a coordinator, most coordinators, regardless of what they require, skill level or kindness or heart, we do have to choose a team that is cohesive and gets along because we're in each other's pockets away. So if you become the person that's too hard or too speaking out of school or speaking ill of others, it will grate on anyone.
Yeah.
I believe it'll grate on anyone. So yeah, I think to become more horrible, you should work on your personality a lot.
Yeah.
Because your skill level will come. If you train hard, if you are a natural or you've done it since you're young, your skill level's already there. So I believe the only thing to work on could be how you get along with others.
Isn't that crazy though, that it's almost a little bit of a contradiction in a way, because stunt people, like in my line of experience, like especially the older school class, it's almost seen as a advantage to not show your emotions and toughen up and be that brick wall almost, and like, yep, I'll do it again, whatever, and like just go straight through the brick wall and keep going and go until you get it, right? But like now, like what you're saying and what I fully agree with you and believe, is that sometimes the hardest things for us, like it almost feels like you're running away from yourself by trudging through that brick wall over and over again. Because the harder thing to deal with is looking inside. Dealing with yourself, right? Like, that's the hard stuff, So I guess what you've probably done a lot of, as I've heard in our personal chats, a lot of deep work yourself, right? On yourself over many years, I'm guessing. You keep looking inward to be better outward.
100%. Yep.
And is there anything that you have come across that you really feel like has helped you that might help others?
Yeah, definitely. And I love that you said it could be a contradiction, because we are stunt people who were taught, don't complain that it's cold. You wuss. Because as I said, I love talking about balance. I don't want anyone to be too much of anything. You can be too nice. You can be.
It's true.
You can be over nice, or you can be over talented. And you can lose each, but you're coming back to the balance. But I love that you brought, is it a contradiction? Because we're in a position where we have to be good at our job, skill-wise, talent-wise, and we need to work on that a lot, because you want to do the best for the director, stunt coordinator, producer, etc. But for me, myself, what I've worked on a lot, even since I was young, in my mindfulness training, is learning how to meditate, learning how to stretch, do yoga, more so than going to the gym for myself personally. I liked doing the things that do ground me and center me. So I like going surfing. I like being in nature. I like going for walks. I like stretching in the morning more than going to the gym. I like to meditate. Lately, I'm practicing a lot of gratitude because life's getting hard, especially post-COVID. Life's getting hard for a lot of people. So now I practice gratitude. What am I grateful for? Why am I thinking of the negative things? Like, because we all are self-harming in a way. We always look at, why aren't I that good enough? Why don't I get those jobs? Why don't I do that? But I've come back to in the last even 6 months is not what am I not good at. What am I good at? You practice gratitude. And the things that you're not good at are in the background, and you can work on those. But yeah, for me, myself, meditation, yoga, mindfulness, breathing whilst you're doing yoga. For me personally, that's what I get a lot out of.
So what would your morning and evening look like before and after work then, to be able to fit some of those things in if you were on a full-time job? Like, because I know that when you're on, sometimes you're doing crazy hours, and do you try and do it every day, or is there some days that you just go, oh, well, this week I'm definitely going to do it like 3 times in a week, or do you just try and set yourself up with a schedule? Like, how does it look?
So I'm pretty hopeless with goals and making sure I do it every morning, because as you know, we wake up and we're on, as stunt coordinators especially, we wake up and we're thinking about what we haven't done to prep for the next day, or am I prepped for the next day? So I'm self-confessed someone that doesn't practice my meditation, which is my favorite thing, every morning, or just have a little stretch, although I know it's going to help me.
Yeah.
But if I'm just like, if I've set the alarm for an hour and a half early to maybe practice some mindfulness and it doesn't happen, I don't beat myself up for it. I just make sure I might do it the next morning. Yeah. Because one thing I can tell a lot of stunt coordinators who wonder why I can sleep at night when I'm working, I'm a good sleeper. One thing I'd try and tell them is, we wake up and we're already chaos in our mind, and it only takes 5 to 15 minutes to sit with your breath and sit with your mind. If you can't quieten it, that's okay. You know, things will come in one ear and out the other. You let it go. We're supposed to think of the bad things and the good things, but I always almost force myself just to sit down for 10 minutes, because what am I going to be doing in that 10 minutes? Making coffee, quickly checking the script or the daily schedule or the call sheet. Have I got everything right? But the making the coffee and everything can wait for just 10 minutes of getting back to yourself. Because what I find after I've meditated is the day always works out better.
Yeah.
Always. So I try and force myself, and it sounds silly saying force to do meditation. You know, that word is kind of contradicting to meditation, forcing yourself. But if I do it, my days seem to be a lot calmer.
So for someone, a stuntie who's a little bit more, you know, just like your typical Aussie stuntie man guy, whatever. It's like meditations for hippies or whatever. Can you give some advice on like just a simple way of starting the process for them, instead of trying to go into like all this, oh, well, it's from this practice and that practice? Like, if you could give a little step-by-step thing of just how you do it, like how it would be a good way to try and just start it.
Definitely, because I found guided meditations never worked for me until I found the right person to help me through guided meditations. Tom Carroll, the surfer, the big wave surfer, was the one that introduced me to guided meditations, because I always found the guided meditations were a little bit too like these gruff Aussies who might think, I don't meditate, I don't need to meditate. But I always did practice mindfulness or meditation. So a step-by-step thing is, I would never tell someone you should do meditation. I would tell someone, though, take 10 minutes just to think of nothing or do nothing. Just sit there. So sit there for 10 minutes. And if you've got chaos in your mind, that's okay. Let it go. But if you close your eyes and just sit there and not participate in the chaos, is how I like to say it. Just let thoughts go in and out. That's how I would say people should start. It's not that you have to do a guided meditation. It's not that you have to go to meditation classes at all. Meditation could be going for a walk in the forest.
Yeah.
So if closing your eyes and doing your OMs is not what you like or want to do, go to the beach and close your eyes. Listen to the sounds, the beautiful sounds we have today in the river.
Yeah.
That's meditation.
Yeah, for sure.
And the best meditation teachers from India and Tibet and China and all these places are ones that say you don't have to practice meditation. Meditation's every day. Gratitude practice,
Yeah.
thanking whoever you want to thank, the Lord, nature,
Yeah.
your mum,
Yeah,
your
for
dad,
sure.
thanking them for what you do have. And that's
Yeah.
meditation.
Yeah.
So that's the advice I would give to young stunt people who are like, how do I practice meditation? It's just go for a walk or close your eyes and listen to the sounds.
Do you practice some form of meditation, mindfulness, or presence, or any kind of tools that you use when you're under stress, or if there's a big stunt about to happen, or on with yourself or with your team? Are there any tips and tricks you can give people on how to be present in that moment and be able to face those hard times?
Yeah, absolutely. Because as you're aware, no matter how talented you are, no matter how experienced you are, we all go into that stage, I believe, because I've chatted to the 50-year veterans in the industry and I've chatted to the new people. We all get that moment before a stunt that is like, what am I doing? Like, this is stupid. Like, I could be in hospital in 2 minutes. I could be seriously injured. I could, there's so many things that go through our head. What are we actually doing? But then I think what I've always liked to do is you let that go on in your head. You do let it go on in your head because as we've always been told, if you're not nervous, you're not ready. So that's natural. We all go through it. We all want to impress the stunt coordinator. We all want to do well. We all want to look good on film. We want the director to be happy. And that thing that goes on in our head for, let's say, 2 to 5 minutes beforehand, like, am I good enough? Have I got this? Am I going to be hurt? A lot of us, with 30 seconds to go, I'd call it, we do have this. This is what we do. This is what we love.
Yeah.
And 99 times out of 100, we walk away that day. Well, that's probably a bad number, but we walk away that day and we love what we do. We're happy. We did something extraordinary and we walk away. But yeah, I always say to people to do what a lot of stunt coordinators taught me in the past and what I like to do, and it's kind of a meditation as well, is picture the stunt in your head. Know that you've done the prep. Know that you were ready. You'll never be more ready. And my best advice is if you're not ready with 30 seconds to go, maybe you should speak up.
Yeah. Yes.
Because, I'm not sure about yourself, but I've done stunts where I'm like, oh, this could go wrong. But I'm still like, no, I've done the training. I'm okay. But a younger stunt person might be too scared to say, hey, I'm not sure I like where that mat is because the stunt coordinator's put it there. But I would say if you've gone through all these processes in your head beforehand, which we all go through, what am I doing? I'm an idiot. Worst stunt career choice ever. But you can speak up. Yeah. And if you're too scared to speak up, there must be a reason why you're too scared to speak up because you're doing the stunt. And myself as a stunt coordinator, I don't think I would ever say, you've wasted our time, you should have done it. You shouldn't have doubted me or you shouldn't have done anything, because I would rather say someone say, I'm not ready. Can we do this? Because life comes first.
Yes.
And if you don't think you're going to be very good after this stunt, then it's bad.
Yeah, the consequences sometimes far outweigh you just saying, hey, can I move that mat a little bit to the left?
Yeah.
You've got to be 100% confident about what's going to happen. And if there's something not right, you've got to speak up.
Yep.
It's not only your own life on the line and it's not only the stunt on the line for, getting a good shot for the director, but it's your life, and the rest of your life too sometimes.
Definitely. Yeah. And we all have different ways. Yeah. I just worked for Philly, stunt coordinator in Victoria, and I've coordinated her in a lot of stunts, and she was coordinating me.
Yeah.
And I was like, Philly, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to nail this first shot. And she said, Warwick, I know you're going to. And she said to me, a wise stunt coordinator, I think she was talking about me, said, you've got this. You're going to be great.
Okay.
Like, picture yourself doing it. So it came around tenfold, which is the beautiful thing of our industry, is I just got, no, not schooled, but I just got told something that I taught someone else. I got told because I was in that position where I was like, oh, they've made this hard for me. They've put a camera right where I'm sliding a car. And I was like, I might pull short on the first one, or I might go long, but I didn't. I got it in one take because of that advice that I've got from the stunt coordinator who said that she learnt it off me.
Yeah.
So it's like, I love the round, the things that go around in the
circle
industry.
of life.
The circle of life. Oh, that's so cool to put it that way. Yeah. So it's yeah. You are the person doing it. If you're not sure, you should speak up. And I spoke up, and she put me at ease. And that's what a stunt coordinator can do for someone.
And because of that, look at the result as well.
Yep, one take, walk away. That was the end of the day.
Yeah.
If I had to have another take, it would have been going into overtime, and you would have felt bad. But we got it in one take, and it was fantastic. Yeah.
Sometimes it is so hard to trust yourself, and there's so many self-doubts that come into play. But my martial arts instructor Nino, Nino Pillar, he always said that you just look at how long have you been in this industry for? Like, how many times have you done this before? What have you done in the past to be able to lead you to this moment? You've got to trust that everything that you've done has led you to be able to overcome what you're about to do now, and you just, your job right now is just to trust yourself and trust what you are,
Yeah, and that's beautiful advice from a beautiful person who's had a lot of experience in his field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So is there anything that you would, any kind of advice or things that you would, tips and tricks for new people who are like coming onto set for the first time, and they're all sort of like, oh, wow, this is like the first time, but they're super nervous, right? Do you have any sort of advice to be able to help them set themselves up for the future to provide a good base for them as they come into the industry?
Yeah, I do. What I'm looking for is I like to see people for who they are as individuals. I've never walked a mile in their shoes, so I don't know why. Some people are more nervous. Some people are more even brash, even forward. Some people are too timid. That's okay. All of that's okay. As long as for me, I'm looking for someone who's, again, centered, and it doesn't matter if you are someone that's come from a background where, or they were born with a really forward or talkative nature, you can still come back and read the room. I always say, read the room. Okay, so it's hard because I don't know whether to help too much or they're helping too little. I always say, I'm not looking for the first person to grab a mat for me ever. I'm never looking for that person running to get a mat. I'm looking for people who are reading the room. Okay, they're going to get the mat. That's okay. I'll stay here and be ready. Try and be in the right spot, which is very hard on a film set. Yeah. And new people don't understand. It's like, oh, I'm in shot again, or I'm in the way again. So it's trying to read the room and know what the stunt coordinator might need as a human being, not their boss. Yeah. Not someone who's going to hire them on the next job. Just look as a human being. Yeah. Am I speaking out of school? How do people react to the way I'm doing things? Because as you know, Chan, you can be too much in a hurry to get a mat and it looks out of control. Especially in stunts, it's so hard to get into. There's 20 camera people on set. There's 20 grips. There's 15 lighting people. But there's only 3 stunt people. How do I get in that 3 stunt people? How do I become someone that someone wants to hire? And I'll always say, read the room, Don't be too much. Don't be too little. And know that all stunt coordinators are looking, which sounds like it puts people under pressure, knowing that. But I can't talk for other stunt coordinators because I know that, but I do know they're all looking.
Yeah.
But what I'm looking at is people who make people feel comfortable, people who are nice, people who are kind. It sounds really la-di-da.
Yeah,
but it's what I want.
Yeah.
I want people to feel comfortable. I don't want bullying. I don't want nasty people. I want racism. I don't want sexism. I just want good people to be around us. Yeah, I do like that you said what you said before about someone who has a reputation to have nice teams and good people around me, because that's what I do choose. And yeah, if you make a mistake, that's okay. Just try not to make excuses for that mistake. Just know and learn from it.
Own it. Yeah.
And own it, and say, yeah, I'm sorry, I really stuffed up. Because as you know, we do have people. Again, I feel sorry for them, maybe where they come from or what they've dealt with in their lives. I'll always see that, but try and own it and try and say, be sorry. Because as we know, people make excuses a lot, but I just wanted to do this. And it's like, oh, yeah, look, it's okay, but I'm looking for people who want to help.
Yeah.
But it sounds so hard to impress people, but I'm not. I'm always looking at people, but I'm mostly looking at how they approach our job as a team, because we do have each other's lives on the line a lot. We do have a lot of trust in each other, and if you haven't read the room, then that's what you need to work on.
Yeah, for sure. So coming back to like all the deep work, the deep work that you do for yourself to be able to be present, I guess, like what we were just saying before, it feels like when you're on set, it is really important for people to not overdo it and like try and like brown nose and go, oh yeah, man, do this and do that, because it almost gives this nervous energy to other departments going, oh, these stunt guys, they seem a little bit on edge today. Like, what is there going to be something bad that's going to happen? Whatever, like, I think it's more that cohesiveness that you're talking about with everyone working together as a team and having a really nice, good energy and a vibe. But I feel like a lot of that actually comes down to exactly what you're saying before about doing the deep work on yourself so that you can be present in the moment and aware, not too heightened, but not too relaxed as well.
Yeah.
So that you can read the room and not be too just like random with your thoughts, like, oh, this, that, and all of this. It's just feeling everything, but letting go with it too in a way. And yeah, I love it. I think it's really great what you're saying. Do you have any sort of advice for people on how to create that environment and create a good professional work ethic, but keeping things, nice and calm and even relaxed?
Yeah. You've known me a long time, Chan. You know that I like fun.
Yeah.
Even as a stunt coordinator, I do like fun. I like people enjoying themselves. We wouldn't do what we do without being fun. I do understand the coordinators who might want a little bit more of a regimented work ethic. I like working for them because it keeps me grounded and centered. As I said, we need the equilibrium. We need to be a bit of both, but we all have our own personalities. I know I love fun. I know I love mucking around, when it's the right time. So even myself as a stunt coordinator, I like to put people at ease and know that we're here for fun, but know when to switch on. So that's the key, isn't it? It's like, how many people have you said, I'm okay for you to be laughing and having fun, but when we're on, we're on.
Yeah.
I'm exactly the same. I have people saying sorry when they're having too much fun. I'm like, now's the time. Have fun. We live in each other's worlds and pockets, and especially when we're in away jobs, we actually do live in each other's pockets. And it is nice to go and have dinners and coffees and everything with people, because that's when you get to know people for their real soul. Um, but yeah, my advice is we might be too quiet, we might be too much, but that it's okay. You can have both of those. You know, if you're too quiet, you can have a bit of fun. If you're too much, you can bring it down a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I've always found you really approachable, like as a person and as a coordinator. So I feel if there was a hard stunt or something that didn't seem right, I would feel more than comfortable coming up to you and asking, oh, look, like, not comfortable about this, or there's this issue that's come up on set, or something like that. How do you have any sort of thoughts about how you make yourself more approachable? Because for me, like, I've had people come up to me and say, oh, you look really angry, or like, I just don't want to I don't want to bother you with these things. I don't want to talk to you about these things because, like, it feels like you're just not in the right mind space for that. And I'm like, I'm trying to be as approachable as I can, you know, but like, how do you create that for people to be able to feel comfortable to come up and talk to you about harder issues, you know?
Yeah, definitely. That's such a good question. And I'll just have to sit in it for a bit, because because I had to learn this as a younger stunt person. When's the right time to speak to the coordinator? Can I speak to the coordinator? And I appreciate you saying that I'm approachable, because that's what I like to be.
You've developed that, I think.
Developed it, yeah.
Because a lot of higher ups don't feel like they are as approachable.
Yeah, exactly. And my thing is, I like to make people feel at ease at the start as a stunt coordinator. Like, part of my toolbox talk is the stunt assistant, or the youngest stunt double, or the SAP, the first stunt trainee. I tell them, you can speak up, you know, be smart about it, like, you know, but you can speak up. I expect you to speak up, and I like people to know that, yes, I am the boss. You know, hate saying that word, but yes, I am the head of department. I did do all the groundwork to get us to where we are today. There is a hierarchy, you know. If you can't speak to me, speak to the assistant stunt coordinator or someone that's a bit more senior. But I like, as a stunt coordinator, to put people at ease at the start, saying you can speak up. You are a friend. You are a valued member of the team. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Regardless. And yeah, the reason why I had to sit with this question is because it's how did I learn it? How did I learn to be approachable? Maybe I always had it. Maybe I give it. But I think it comes back to reading the room, Chan. I really do, because you know, it's pretty funny for me to hear people think that you might not be approachable sometimes because you're busy, because you're one of the nicest people in the world. But we do get busy, and we do have a lot going on in our heads. As you know, yourself as a fight choreographer, pre-viz person, people look up to you. And I know for a fact, Chan, that you would be like me. I find it weird that people look up to me or look at me as a boss. I don't want to be. I want to be equals. I really do.
Yeah.
And I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. I really do want the whole team to be a team. But I am the boss. It does come back to me. You know, the producers will come to me if something goes wrong or they waste time, or you know, that's a real thing in our industry that a lot of young stunt people don't know. So it's good that I've sat in it, because now I can say that a lot of stunt trainees and newer stunt people come onto set, have a great time, do a great job, do a stunt and then go home. Some stunt performers probably aren't aware of what has gone on to get to that point.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I can, you know, to your podcast listeners, that's what I can say, is that we have done risk assessments. We have done breakdowns. We have had meetings. We have had to try and crunch numbers. We have had to get to where we get, maybe even have meetings with the producers or the studio. about how we're going to do this stunt. Like if we set an actor on fire, or if we have no helmets on motorbikes, we've had to have the hard meetings to get to that point where a stunt person gets on set. So really good advice would be to know this, to know that a lot of work's gone in to get you to where you've got. I never knew it as a newer stunt person. Thought the stunt coordinator was just having as much fun as me.
Yeah.
Because you might work with some stunt coordinators who are so fun, but we have got the stress in our minds. We have got the deadlines, schedules to get to. So that's my best bit of advice.
Yeah.
Is know the work that's gone in to get you to where you got.
Yeah.
Choosing the stunt doubles, choosing the stunt performers.
Yeah.
And I will choose stunt performers who are good people as well as talented. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I think you've probably already answered this question, but like rolling into it, I think now, for people who have become more established as performers and, you know, maybe they're getting a bit older or they just want to keep going into a different part of their career, what sort of advice would you give to people who were looking into getting into coordinating or assistant coordinating or being a bit more of a higher up in the food chain in the stunt world?
Yeah, I think the most important thing, as you said, we kind of have touched on it, but we probably haven't touched on what's the next step from a really experienced stunt performer to being the assistant to the stunt coordinator. I would definitely say that's when it becomes necessary to know who's the boss, if you know what I mean. So I think the wording, a really good stunt person told me, it's all in the wording. You're the assistant to the stunt coordinator. You're not the stunt coordinator yet. And that contradicts what I said before about everyone's part of the team and everyone's equal. But when you want to be assistant to the stunt coordinator, a stunt coordinator is always going to hire someone who is able to give gentle advice as to what they might do, but never overstep that boundary. If they're coming to the meetings, if they're lucky enough to come to the meetings as a assistant stunt coordinator, I would definitely suggest that then they can throw their advice in. But if they haven't been to the meetings, then just ask the questions. Hey, have you thought about this? Is there a reason why we're not doing it this way? Because I think a lot of people in their own mind know how to do a stunt better. And we've all been there. We've all seen those people. I could have done it better than that, or I could have done this. I believe they're the ones that are not going to become a good assistant coordinator. If you always think you can do better than the stunt coordinator or better than anyone.
Well,
because there is a lot of ways to do things. And even myself as a 7 or 8 year stunt coordinator, I still go into a film set if I'm not the stunt coordinator, and I just listen and learn from that stunt coordinator. And I think that's really good advice to give anyone, because I've been in jobs where I'm literally a stunt assistant again, and I love it. I love being a stunt assistant again. I don't have to be the stunt coordinator. And the reason being is I can learn off that person and never have that in your mindset that, oh, I wouldn't have done it like that.
yeah.
Like, you know, sure, there are times when, you know, people are put in danger and you're like, oh, gosh, you sure? But just ask the question.
Yeah.
Don't say that's not the way I would have done it or that's not it. Because unfortunately, they're the ones who are not going to be chosen as an assistant stunt coordinator, because as you know, you choose that person for that role to help you through a very stressful, highly skillful area of the film industry, stunts. Our job is to do things that are not safe for actors and extras to do. That's our job description as a stunt performer. To do things that are not safe. So to become a good assistant stunt coordinator, that's when you should be even a better listener and a better assistant to the stunt coordinator. Make his job easier or her job easier.
Yeah, compliment them, as well as be mindful of how you say things, I guess, and when
Yes,
as well, right?
exactly. Yep. And that's the same with fight choreographer roles. Any of the head roles, head stunt rigger, make sure everything goes through the stunt coordinator,
Yeah.
because they're the ones who have to answer the questions.
It's communication.
Yeah, if they don't know.
Communication skills. Right.
Yeah, so a head stunt rigger, fight choreographer, assistant stunt coordinator, if you've changed something, just make sure you put it through the stunt coordinator, because they're the ones that have to answer to the producers.
Yeah.
Hey, why did that happen? Oh, I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, you don't know what's going on in your team. So that's where
Goes downhill real quick.
we love that everyone's involved in the team and everyone's equal, but there is the triangle of hierarchy.
Yeah. And there needs to be, I think, as well.
Yeah.
There really does, because it is impossible to convey every single thing that happens in all the meetings to everyone in the team, from the stunt assist to the performer to the head rigger. It's hard to get all of that information out. It's more efficient to be able to get out the information that everyone needs to know to the whole team, and then be able to utilize that information and complement the whole team in what they need to do as a whole.
Yeah.
It's great. It's difficult. I don't envy your job. Like, it's just such a difficult thing to do, but you do it so well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot to learn, but
yeah. So I think we're gonna come to a close soon, but is there sort of anything that you think, like, any ideas of where you would like to head in the next 5-10 years? Like where you see yourself?
Yeah, definitely, Chan. So not one to ever, when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, when I was a young adult, I'm never one to set goals, or I'm going to say 5-year plans. I've never had a 5-year plan. Now is when I do have one now. Because I'm 50 this year. And I finally have a little goal. And I always didn't have goals because I love to live in the now. Don't live in the past. Don't think about the future. I love to be centered in the now. What's happening now? Why is this so beautiful? Why are we in this amazing place? So I've always wanted to be a filmmaker. I made a film in 2011 that did quite well on the short film circuit over in the United States, because we wanted to make a film that resonated with the world, not just Australia. I made that quite a while ago, always wanting to make a feature. Haven't done it yet. During COVID, I kind of thought I didn't know which way to go after that. I didn't know if I was going to get out of it and work with animals. I didn't know what exactly I wanted to achieve as a stunt coordinator. I just like to get hired and do a good job for that producer and that production manager and director. But now I think I do want to get back into the filmmaking. Action directing, somewhere I want to go. Writing, producing. And I think I'm going to put a lot of effort and time into that. I think I really want to create an Australian film that can make a massive impact, not only globally like some of the films have in the past, but I want to put bums on seats. I want people to go and see our films. Because as you know, we've made some beautiful films that have been nominated for Academy Awards or won Academy Awards. My massive goal is, can we make a blockbuster like a few people have, like George Miller and other great directors in the country. But yeah, I want to see if we can make a film that is like The Godfather or The Joker or, the Joker's.
Why can't we?
Why can't we? Yeah.
Great crew. We have good crew,
good cast.
Good cast.
Yeah. Some of the world's best at crews and cast. But why can't we make, Lion is one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen from start to finish, but still didn't make the money that some of these other films. So, I think we can.
Yeah.
and I would really love to. So I'm going to get back into writing. Used to write as a 20-year-old. I used to love that side of the industry, writing and then creating films that people are going to love, you know. And I think the way we can do it is it's got to be from the heart, because, you know, I spoke about George Miller, and he's made these amazing Mad Max films, which are so cool, great filmmaking. Although I think the best film he's made is Happy Feet. And for me, it's because it's in the heart. It's about the environment and the planet and what we've done to it. And it's cute and it's great for kids. So I don't know if I'm going to make a children's film, but I would like to know how The Joker made over $1 billion being an R-rated dark film. And I think it's because I went 4 times myself to the movies to watch it. I want to make a film like The Joker. I would love to try and make something that every scene counts. It follows the formula, the 3-act formula and the character arcs. And I would be so happy in my retirement if I could just do one thing like that. Make a film, and make a film that resonates with people around the world.
Watch this space.
Yeah.
It's going to happen now. We got to get out in the world.
Yeah, we have to make this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So great.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite books that you would like? Is there a book that you like gifting people, or like things that you would?
Yeah. Well, I don't read much, to tell you the truth, Chan. Although if I find a book that really hits me, I do. I would say that the genre of books I've read the most are biographies of uplifting people. A few books that I really love is Michael J. Fox's first book, Lucky Man.
Oh, okay.
That's really uplifting and inspiring, you know, because he goes through his whole life story from, you know, Teen Wolf to Back to the Future to Family Ties, and then his Parkinson's and how he found it, that his little pinky was shaking. And then it's so beautiful because it's got to do with our industry. But it goes all the way through to Parkinson's being a blessing to him. So we all deal with adversity. We all deal with inner demons, issues with ourselves. We all know what we're good at as well. And this book, you know, A Lucky Man by Michael J. Fox is one. Tom Carroll's book, TC, good friend of mine, Nigel Harbat, she gave me Tom Carroll's book to read, and that's another book that he went through after his surfing career. He went into a deep, dark part of his life, and he came out of it, and now he, you know, teaches meditation, which is the guided meditations I do is Tom Carroll. And big wave surfers are my heroes. I don't even understand how they can surf in 40-foot waves when I'm scared in 4-foot waves. So Tom Carroll's book. And to get really deep, I read a lot of Tibetan books, Buddhist books, and I always have. That's the books that I always resonated with. And there's a book called The Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. It's called by, I don't want to get his name spelt wrong, but Sogal Panosh. It's an Indian person. But the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying is a book about death, and it's so uplifting. And I've never read a big book. This is quite a thick book. It's long, but I read that book, and it's all about death, but it's all about the fact that if you don't be scared of death, because we're all going to die. And it's all about that the fact that you will get to see this again, you know, that we will be reincarnated, or, you know, and so that's another book that I would recommend. So I don't read too many stunt books or self-help books or how to succeed or make money, but I do like people's experiences and how they overcame adversity, or you know, they're the ones that inspire me. So
those books are definite ones that I'll put on my list. Warwick, and thank you so much for coming and being a part of this, and offering and sharing all of your knowledge and experience. And tips and tricks and advice. It's going to be so valuable, not only to myself, but to all the listeners and stuff. And I really hope that I see you in the next life and we are friends then too, my friend.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, beautiful man.
You're a good man. Thanks, Chan.